Hello, hello, hello. I'm Suzana Mihailovic, and welcome to your 5-minute success hack. All right, so the number one thing that's going to bring you from where you are now to the success that you want, your goal, is the big D word. It is decision. Now, as adults, we are not great at making decisions. We want to do something and we ask, people that don't even have the success that we want to have, what do you think I should do? What do you think I should do? Do you think I should do this? Do you think I should do that? We've never been taught to make decisions and we're afraid of making mistakes. But hey, how do you expect to move from where you are into a greater possibility, into change, into something that you really want if you haven't made a big decision? And decisions are uncomfortable because they force you to go into the unknown. But guess what? Without making a decision, you will never, ever achieve what you want. So what is a decision, first and foremost? If you've said that you're going to do something, it doesn't necessarily mean that you've made a decision. To me, what I learnt back in 2018-19, a decision means that you know absolutely inside yourself that it is done. So decision equals done. I want you to write that down. Decision equals done. So back in 2019 actually. So you might know my story. I left a really well-paid job to go into business. It took me about a year and a half to get my business going. And back in 2019, I was in I went to Toronto, Canada to get some training with Bob Proctor as one of his consultants. And I remember the moment when I made a decision. I'll never, ever forget it. I was so sick and tired of myself, so sick and tired of my results, that I knew that I will either go back home and just give up my business and give up my goal and that's it, or I had to change. And I knew it was going to be extremely uncomfortable. And at that moment, I made a decision. I made a decision that I'm going to do what it takes, that I'm going to make sure that it is done. And the moment I made the decision, the second that I made the decision, I had this knowing that moved through me that this is done. This is done. I'm going to do it. And it was very uncomfortable. And it was uncomfortable because I knew I had to change. I knew that I had to do things and be very different to what I had been up until that time. I knew that I had a huge growing learning curve in front of me, but I knew deep down that it was done. And I knew as a result of that, that I would be the one that is called to meet with Bob out of hundreds of consultants that were there. So I went back to my hotel room, jet lagged. I did the work until there was nothing else for me to do. And then a couple of days later, when they announced the person, that 2 people in the whole place, ended up sitting in Bob Proctor's Millionaire Roundtable, and I knew that I was one of them because I had made a decision. Crazy how it works. And then I was called into the meeting with the Bob Proctor's Millionaire Roundtable. I ended up sitting right next to Bob. He was on my right-hand side, and that's how Bob and I became friends. And business was never the same. Business skyrocketed after that. Now, it wasn't comfortable. Even after that meeting, it was not comfortable. I remember the flight home. I was so nervous. I was so nervous that I would go home with the same patterns and the same behavior that I had. Okay, so decision does not necessarily mean that it's going to be easy for you. Decision means that it is done regardless. Decision equals done. So have you made a decision for your success? Decision means you keep going until you get it done. You keep going even though it's uncomfortable. Okay, you do you do your own growth, you get uncomfortable, you move through it and to the other side. So make a good decision for you and your success today. Back yourself up. Bye-bye.